Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna do a small tutorial on how to make material functions. And to do that I'm gonna recreate an easyRotate material node I made. Basically it's an easyRotator. That's the best way to put it. I'm gonna show you how it works. If I have a scalar value and put it into rotation degrees, and if I put in 90 degrees here, the arrow is rotated 90 degrees. 45 degrees, it's rotated 45 degrees, and 90, 180, you get the whole point. So you can additionally add UVs. If you want to change the UV channels, you can do it like that, or if you want to have some tiling going on, so you can either do it like this, or actually with just a texture component node. There we go. And that's double the amount of arrows. Though I might need to set this to wrap in this case. There we go. And we have 4 arrows. And if you rotate it, there we go. Rotation center is where the rotation will take place. At the moment it's exactly at the center, but if we change that with this, the rotation might be off. Let's show it a little bit better by probably creating 3 arrows. Actually 1 arrow might be better, so I might need to replace the texture for that. So at the moment it's rotate 90 degrees. If I do 0.2 and 0.2, you can see the rotation will be somewhere else. What's the best way to show this? Let me see. Let me get a random texture real quick. There we go. And actually get this channel so you can see a bit clearer. And let's get another one going. Luos Timesine. Put that in here. I probably need to multiply it with a value. And why are you not real time? There we go. As you can see, the rotation is, the center is now about here. And if I do 0 and 0, it should be right here. Yes, and if I do 0.5, 0.5, then you can definitely see that rotation is taking place in the center. So that's what rotation center is. And we're going to recreate this material function. Okay, let's do that starting now. So for this material function, I already imported the arrow texture. Now let's make the material function. Materials and textures, material function. I'm going to call it, normally you call like material function underscore, and since I'm apparently self-centered, I start with Luos because I like to find it easily. But in this case, let's do material function, and since it's a tutorial for me, I'm gonna call it tutorial, and then easyRotator. There we go. Double click on it, and the first thing we'll need is a few inputs. So right mouse click, input, function inputs. These will basically be your inputs in the material function. I'm gonna need 3 of those. Actually, before I do that, let's change something. Use preview value as default, yes. And most of the functions we'll need will be factor 2, since it's only U and V channel. So factor 2, which has 2 inputs. There we go. And we're gonna duplicate this with Control W 3 times, actually 2 times in total, so we have 3. We're gonna name the first one rotation center. And this will affect the center, the rotation center. There. All right, the values should be 0.5 since it's going to be in the middle of the texture in normal situations. All right, then we have a second one, which will be actually just UVs. UV, change this, change this to, that's very poor English. Use this to change the UV channel or the amount of tiling. There, that sounds way better. Okay. And additionally, we will have the rotation. So rotation, uses degrees from 0 to 360. There we go. So let's do that part first, or do you actually want? Let's actually see what's going on in the when you place this already in a texture in a material. So there we go. That's easy rotate mod. There we go. Double click on that. And let's go to the content browser and drag and drop this in. And there you go. There's already the UV, the rotation, and the rotation center. So what if I want to change the order these three are in? You can go back here and actually check the sort priority. The lower the value, the higher it will be. I actually want the rotation to be at the bottom, so that's going to be sort priority 3. The UV input will be 0, or 1, that's totally fine, and this will be 2. So this way it will be ordered differently. There we go. UV, rotation, rotation center. Now if I want to, actually I need to save this and save this again to change that to correct. There we go, UV, rotation center, rotation. Now if I want the rotation to be at the top now, there are multiple ways to do it, but the easiest way is just to go into the minus. So this one is 0 if I'm correct, or actually just not, yeah. This one is 0. If I want to go above that, I can also do -1. I'll save it. Just to be sure, I'll save this as well. And the rotation is at the top. So I want it to be at the bottom. Let's change it back to 3. Alright, now that's down. Let's get down to business and recreate the raw material function. Okay, let's see, where should we start? We can start with the actual rotation center, which is actually very simple. Eventually we're going to need an add here, but for now we are going to need these bit add here. Apologies for that. There we go. And we are also going to multiply this with a -1 to invert the U and the V. And we're going to add that to the texture input. There we go. And let's do all the rotation stuff now. It's a bit hard to explain sometimes, so if I'm going to be all quiet, it's because I understand it, but not enough to explain how everything goes. So easily, I'm going to hold down 1, left mouse click, and I'm going to get this value. I'm going to input 45 here, so I can actually see it on the texture real quick. And I'm going to divide this value. It should actually be a scalar 1, because we only need 0 to a 360 value. We don't need any other values additional. So the scalar value is 0 to whatever, or actually minus whatever to whatever, is fine. And we're going to divide that value with 360. Now, if you just fill in 360 here, it will be counterclockwise. So if you want it to be clockwise like me, you're going to divide it by -360. You could also multiply it by -360, but this works. Alright, now we need a sine and a cosine. And from here, it's just what I know close enough to get it working, but not good enough to explain all the details. So just bear with me a little bit. There we go. And we're gonna append these two together, which will result in actually being 2 channels again. At the moment, the sine is one value and the cosine is another. If you append them, it becomes a V2. So basically, these two becomes this. That's the best way I can explain it. I'm gonna keep it like that. Now I also need to multiply this sign with a minus to invert it. There we go. And then I'm gonna append again. This value with this cosine. Go. And that's gonna be into dot product. Now I don't know much about the dot product. I tend to use it like an alternative Fresnel effect. But basically, from what I understand, it calculates the length of one vector compared to the other. That's how far I went with dot product. So don't ask me math questions, I'm not good at them. Alrighty, let's connect this append to that dot and also this add. There we go. And we need another additional dot product to append, to connect this append to, and additionally this add as well. And we're almost done because we need to append this once more. There we go. And that should give us a working result. You can save and actually try it. Let's get that texture in that I imported just for this result. At the moment rotation is 45 degrees if I'm correct, so that should work. Let's see, plug it into the UVs. Let's go to the base color and emissive color. And get the wrap going. Okay, and we need one last thing in here, and that's a texture coordinate node. So hold down the U button, left mouse click, and actually put it into the UVs. And as you can see, we now have something that looks a bit better than before. We're going to save this, and voila, 45 degrees. Now if I input another value here, this should be straight up. 45 degrees should be a little bit to the right, and 19 degrees should be an arrow pointing all the way to the right. There we go. Now let's clean up this material function a little bit before we finish it. Let's change this to a normal value like 0, so it's always at the standard rotation. The texture coordination and the rotation are all fine, so that's about it. Let's clean it up a little bit more because I like things clean and I like straight lines. So let's see what we can do there. There, and let's move this down a bit. And let's move you two over here. There we go. What else can we get all straightened up? O, C, D. Okay. That means that this sign actually will be straight, and those sign we can put underneath it, and yada yada yada. Clean this up a little bit better. There will always be a wire crossing, but nothing too bad. Now we could comment this stuff, but it's actually very straightforward, so I don't think we'll need that. But this just looks nicer for the eye. We could go as far as actually really comment it out, but meh, it's not really needed. So we're gonna save this, and now we have a working easyRotator. Obviously you can do other things with the material functions. You can easily make a Timesine node or whatever. Actually, let's do a Timesine node real quick. I'm gonna save this one. I'm gonna go to this content browser. I'm gonna create material again, a material function, and call it mf tut not easyRotator. No, Timesine. So you've seen me use this one quite a bit. So let's get a sine node, the sine remapped. There we go. We plug it in. value 1 and 2 will be 0 for 1 and a 1 for value 2. Now we can multiply this value, of course, like this. We need an input function input. It's going to be a scalar since it's going to be one value, and multiplier, it should be done. Should be enough for now. And there, and the sine phase, that will be time. But we want to have some control over the time, so I'm actually going to multiply that as well. Gonna get another input going. And there, it's also going to be a scalar, and this is going to be speed. And there, plug it into that, and I want the speed at the top, so that's going to be 0. The multiplier below that. There, and let's do a few other things. The description. Easy function for a sine node with time apply. There we go. If you expose to the library, it will actually show up in here. So expose to library. I'm going to save it just in case, because sometimes when you actually change the library category text, it will crash. Though it shouldn't happen in 4.11 and 4.12. I'm still not sure. So in the library category text, let's put this into the instead of misc, let's do misc2, just to show you that it will be there. I'm going to save it, and if I'm correct, if I scroll down to misc2, where are you? Normals. There's no misc2 until I probably reopen this material. So let's close it and open it again. Now there should be actually be a misc2. If I'm correct, misc, scroll all the way down. misc2, there we go. Material to Timesine. Now if you hold the mouse over, as you can see, easy function for a sine node with time applied. Let's plug this into the rotation. And as you can see, there's an error. If these brackets are white, these inputs, that means that it needs a value. Well, these are grayed out, so these can work without any additional values plugged in. But let's change that. In the input speed, let's change the use preview value as default and tick it on, and use an actual value of 1. So the input is always, the time is always multiplied by 1, so it's actually the normal speed. The multiplier for this one, for how far the sine phase goes, also needs a value of 1 to start with, and also uses a preview value. That way it's always working. And now if I save, it should load the new material function. And as you can see, it's only very limited because of the way this works. So let's multiply this value. Actually, we should be able to do that over here. So let's multiply this by 90. And let's enable real time. And as you can see, there we go. Now if we change this value to 1 again, the rotation is only limited. If I do 100, the rotation speed is output of this sine is multiplied by 100. So that's why it's rotating a lot more. And the same we can do with speed. If you do 0, it's actually static again. If you do 1, we have the normal speed. But if you have like 10, it's 10 times as fast. Boom. And there you have it. 2 material functions and how to create them. Keep in mind this should be a tutorial. So I've shown you how to use the inputs, how you can plug down material nodes just like a normal material. And with the inputs, you can just easily create a material function. There is no real performance benefits out of this, but it can save a lot of time if you can just plop down a material function instead of constantly having to recreate the combination of nodes. Additionally, sometimes it's easier to share material functions, and overall it's just way less time consuming. Yes, so I think that's about it. Hope you learned something, and take care.